2, 3, 4. Lover, I just killed a man. Come on. What's this man?
Pull that trigger, now he's dead.
Lover.
My bed just begun. Now I'm gonna throw
I don't know that part.
away.
For me, it's just a thing now. It's just, I have it, you know, it's like arthritis or you know, I don't know, any kind of affliction that somebody has. But for somebody that doesn't know that I've had time to adjust, because I've had time to adjust to it. Now, when I was first told, I was not in a good place when I was first told I had it. But now when I tell people, I over the past, I would say 6 months or so, I've become very aware of how I say it to people. I was very matter of fact before, well, I have brain cancer, and there was not a lot of emotion that went behind it. There wasn't a lot of emotional investment in it for me. I think I just sort of dissociated a little bit from it. So now, as I'm telling people these things, I sort of read the expression on their face to see how they're dealing with it, so I can reassure them that, you know, I'm fine. You know, I know brain cancer sounds scary, but I'm healthy. I think I'm healthier now than I've been in my entire life.
This is the first event that is launching this new initiative that we started called the SickBoy Wish Fund. And tonight the party is called the SickWish Gala. It's to kick everything off, in particular to kick off the fundraising for this initiative. And what we're doing with the SickBoy Wish Fund is we are granting one wish to a deserving sick adult. Kind of like Children's Wish Foundation, but for an adult who never had the opportunity to have a kid's wish. I had a children's wish when I was a child, and I botched my wish. I could have had anything in the world, and instead of wishing for something cool, I wished for a shopping spree at the Halifax Shopping Centre. And the idea of making up for that regret by giving somebody else an opportunity to make a wish, this is really, really, really special. We are super excited. We are moments away from announcing our very first SickWish recipient.
Her name is Charmaine, and we are sending her to Africa to go on a safari with her daughter.
And right now she thinks she's at a photo shoot with her friend Stu, and we're about to crash it.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Do you know why we're here? You're the first recipient of the SickWish. We're gonna send you guys on an African safari.
Shut up. Shut up. Oh my God! You guys are so amazing.
Rory, get in here.
You're amazing.
You're part of it. You're part of it. This is more for the coast. Lions? Giraffes?
Cheetahs?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Or zebras if you're from like.
Oh my God. I don't even know what.
Neither do I.
We didn't get past telling you.
Yeah.
That's all we planned
know
on.
what comes down.
Oh my God, my heart. Oh my goodness, I'm like shaking. Oh my God. Come here.
Doc, right there. Yeah, just so I can get everybody on the way.
Oh my God.
Oh, perfect. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, perfect right there.
Well, there was years of symptoms that nobody really tied to a brain tumor or brain cancer. They thought it was bipolar disorder. They'll sort of gravitate towards a mental illness instead of doing a scan on somebody to see if there's maybe something affecting their brain. I had an amazing headache one day, and it didn't go away, and it just started to get worse and worse until it felt like there was little explosions going off in my head. So I went to emergency where they did a CAT scan on me, and it took a few days for them to actually figure out that it wasn't a stroke, it was indeed a brain tumor. With the brain, it really doesn't matter if it's malignant or benign, it's where is it? Mine was in my right frontal lobe, so what it was doing, it was sort of pressing down on all of my emotional controls, and they had me on medication. So anyway, it turned out that it was a brain tumor when they went in and took the brain tumor. Unfortunately, when the results came back, it was malignant. When I first heard the news, I was like, that's a death sentence. Like, what? I've got 2 to 3 years tops. And when I told her, of course, she was upset, and Rory and I spent a lot of time talking through things and figuring out, like, well, this is the way it is. So we have to move forward from this point. So how do we do that? So we spent a lot of time figuring out how we do that. When I got the diagnosis that it was malignant, prior to that, I was reassuring her, no, the doctors think it's going to be fine. It's just a brain tumor. They're going to take it out and everything will be fine. So to have to give her the news, oh, you know what, they were wrong. It is actually malignant. So it was a pretty rough time.
My name's Rory and I'm 12 years old.
Where do you live?
Canada, Nova Scotia, Canada. Wait, in Halifax. It's really cold comparing to here, and normally in the winter, like now, it will be snowing, but this year's not a good example. It's mostly just raining right now. I think I found it in early January of 2018.
Who told you?
My mom.
How was that?
It was... I started crying like a lot, but then afterwards, I kind of I was still upset for a while, but then after I realized it's not really as bad as it could be. It kind of would have been worse if she had some of the things that she thought that she had when she got the headache, because it doesn't seem to be affecting her that bad. So it doesn't bother me very much. I mean, if she took the chemo and she was sick all the time, then it would probably bother me a lot more than it does. Because she doesn't seem sick at all. She's never really that sick. She seems kind of the same as she was before she was diagnosed. Except her hair looks different. Actually, no, it doesn't. Right before she got diagnosed, it was literally the exact same as it is right now. Bleached and that long. So, it's kind of the same, actually.
When we talked about the treatment, I decided that I would have the radiation, but I didn't want to have the chemotherapy because I didn't want to be sick. I wanted to, whatever time I had left, I wanted to spend it with Rory. When people are on chemotherapy, it fights it and fights it and fights it and fights it. And then you get to a point where the doctors say, okay, we can stop now because you're doing very well. But then when you stop, it comes back. And it comes back very quickly.
So as you can see, he's kneeling. You don't drink the traditional African beer with the hat on, unless it's the traditional hat, and you don't drink it standing up.
If I had chosen to do chemotherapy, we wouldn't be here right now. It's something that you keep doing over and over and over again, and that's not what I'm interested in doing. You know what, I'm almost 50, so it's not like it's striking me down in my youth or anything like that, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to as many people as possible, is that these things can be detected when you're a kid, and they grow for years and years and years and cause people so much anguish that it's unbelievable.
So 133 pieces.
And you were in solitary confinement, you would be in here, this would be it. No toys, no nothing. Yep. You're by yourself. So you would be in this room by yourself with nothing else.
How would anyone be sentenced in here? Or like, what do you have to do to be sentenced to solidarity?
Not much. Not much. When we had to decide on what the treatment plan was going to be, I knew I didn't want to do chemotherapy. But at that point, it's not about me anymore. Now it's about how do I make this okay for her, and one of the ways to make it okay for her is to not be really sick. I wanted it to be as normal as possible for her because she was only 11 at the time, and I thought, I don't want her to see this. This isn't the way I want her to see me go out. Right from the beginning, I've been very open with Rory because I'm a single parent as well. When Rory goes to bed at night, I don't want her going to bed thinking that I could, die in my sleep because she's seen me be so sick through the day. Because I think that's a real fear for kids, and especially, a child that's only got the one parent. It must have been devastating for her. So it was important to me to make sure that she had a voice in what was happening. Basically, what they did is they made a mask of my face, and I would go in every day for 6 weeks, and they would strap me by this mask to a table, and the radiation machine sort of would go around me, and it was just delivering radiation to specific spots in my brain. They've done brain surgery on me. They did that a couple of weeks after I was diagnosed. So I have a scar from here to here, and they took a significant piece of my brain out. They sort of radiate around the edges of where the cancer was because they couldn't get it all. So I'll never be cancer-free. What I have diffuses into other parts of the brain. It doesn't typically go into other parts of your body, but it'll show up in another part of your brain. And usually when it shows up again, it's a higher grade. So where I have a grade 3 right now, when it comes back, it may be a grade 4. I also chose to use a lot of cannabis oil because I figured I can either be sick or I can be stoned. So I chose to be stoned for a year. And I say that laughingly because I was never a cannabis user before. It's the THC that they think is targeting the cells, the abnormal cells, and leaves the other cells alone. Thankfully, my body has reacted very well to it. That's my only concern, is being here, and is it growing? Like, can I hear it growing in my head, right? And when I get back from my next scan, am I going to see significant growth as a result of not having cannabis for 2 weeks? I don't believe that to be true. It started off as me wanting to see animals, and then the history, so that Rory gets to understand all of that history and the things that can happen in the world, and that the world is a much bigger place than just North America. One of the other things that we're doing while we're here too is we're staying in a village, so it's called a Kamama stay, and I can't wait to get into the village to start living with some of the people that are living in the village and having Rory interact with the kids and the adults that are there. I think that's going to be a life-changing experience for her. So if there's a gift that I can give her before I go, this is the gift, to sort of change her life and change the trajectory of her life. So, you know, while she's getting used to junior high and social media and all of these things that kids go through when they're growing up, she'll at least have this to fall back on as well and say, yeah, well, you know what, maybe things aren't so bad, because I can remember staying in a village where, you know, kids didn't have clean drinking water. So that's really the goal. When we first see an animal, I want to make sure that I've got my phone ready so I can record the expression on Rory's face. We could hear this crazy bird outside earlier today, but we couldn't see it because the windows are sort of whited out. So when we were walking up, we were walking by and Rory she finally saw the bird. She's like, Mommy, there's the bird, right? But I didn't have my phone on me.
Look behind you, digging in that bin. That's that bird that we were talking about yesterday. What's the name of that? Hadida. Hadida.
Hadida. I like it. And the yellow bird was over there a minute ago.
I mean, we're here for the wildlife, and we're here for the history too. Like I was saying to Rory earlier today, like, this is the birthplace of life. If people have an opportunity to come and visit this place, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you would have to, if someone offered you the opportunity. I've been waiting for this for about 7 months, and I will, like, just all of a sudden out of nowhere start yelling, we're going to Africa. Like, that's Rory, and she starts laughing at me, but we're both pretty excited.
It picked up Heath Richards' face. That's the funniest Snapchat ever. One more. All right.
You saved that though, right? Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna go in shark cage diving, great white shark cage diving. So we're looking forward to that. And then I have a surf lesson the next day. Rory hasn't decided if she wants to go surfing, especially after being in the shark cages. We'll see what happens there. Today we went surfing at Gary's Surf School, and this was probably the highlight of my trip at this point, because I got to see Rory get up on a board for the first time ever. So I'm pretty elated right now. This beats even watching the leopard kill a baby kudu and eat it. This was amazing. Yeah, that's really what we've been doing for the past years, making sure that she's okay and making sure that I don't get sicker. I could live for another 30 years with this, and it may come back, and I can't have any more radiation. I've had as much radiation as my body can take at this point, so they can always go in and do more surgery, and I can change my lifestyle again. I went through a period of time where I don't think I really accepted that I was sick. I still don't really accept that I'm sick, because I don't feel sick, but getting this has also made me a kinder person and a more tolerant, patient person. Before this, I didn't really think about, what was going on in other people's lives when they would interact with me. Everything that I was doing would just revolve around me. Whereas now I'm more aware of other people's situations, or more aware of how they could be having a situation that I don't know anything about.
I hope that she doesn't get any sicker, because I think that she's fine now. Like, I would expect if she got a little bit sicker, but I don't think that she's going to, because of the cannabis, her cancer is actually shrinking. So I don't. And some people with hers, they've got cured. I'm not saying that she will. I know it says it's uncurable, but a lot of people have gotten cured with it.
I have an amazing kid. I knew that before I left. Didn't know how amazing she was until 24 hours a day for 2 weeks straight. She's incredible. And we're waiting for our next adventure. Somewhere in Europe, we'll go together and backpack. Greece, apparently. And yeah, we're just gonna live life out loud. I'm dealing with this in my way, and thankfully I have this amazing person in my life, Rory, that has made this really easy for me to get through this. A lot of people that go through this, they don't have the support system in place that I have. I have my parents, which I'm so thankful for. And I have 2 amazing brothers. One of my brothers actually grows the cannabis for me. So he's licensed to grow plants for me. So I know exactly where my stuff's coming from. I'm very fortunate. I mean, I'm sitting in Africa right now. Right? Like how crazy is that somebody has brain cancer, they get diagnosed with brain cancer, and there's all these things happening, and all of a sudden someone steps forward and goes, but you know what? We're gonna send you to Africa because we want you to have something in your life that's so amazing that it takes your mind off of all of the other stuff that's happening. So I think that's really all I'd want to say.
That's not very good at all.
Okay. How about we wait until we get home and see what happens?
We're saying hello to the SickBoy folks.
Okay.
That's why we were saying, hey, sickos.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're gonna do it. Do you want to do it again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. So, pan to the fire.
Okay, ready? Hey,
Hey, sickos!